Political Watch, and syempre po, mayroong hanging question si Tito Joe, pero bago po yan, ay dumating na po ang ating panauhin, ipapakilala ni Tito Joe.
We have with us this evening a graduate of San Beda. Siya po he holds a postgraduate degree from the University of California in Berkeley, dating councilor representing the 6th District of Manila. Walang iba kundi si Congressman Greco. Belgica. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
And welcome to Political Watch. Tito Jean,
may tanong ka muna, Tito Joe, kay Professor.
Meron akong hanging
bago
question
tayo magtanong kay Sir.
Sa inyo, no? Bakit even from DBM, iba-iba ang iba-iba ang mga figures. May 136 billion something, merong 144, merong ang actual lang daw na ginastos ay 111 yata or 101 billion. May figures tayo nandidinig na 177, meron pang over 200 billion. Bakit? Why is it that they are having a hard time coming up with the exact figure?
Oo, yun na nga yung kinalulungkot ko kasi sabi, naging transparent daw sila, but the mere fact that you're getting funds from other agencies and then putting it to other agencies, yun yung mangyayari. Wala siyang transparency. Kasi magpupool ka ng funds. Hindi katulad ng General Appropriations Act na makikita mo talaga sa isang libro, no? At pinag-usapan kung ano yung mga ilalagay doon.
Yes.
So yun yung nagiging problema.
Sir Greg, nagulat ba kayo na ang Malacanang pa ay magmapile ng motion for reconsideration, o since ito naman ay part ng isang proseso, okay lang na mag-file? But sa inyo bang palagay, kung talagang may pag-amin man lang na medyo may konting pagkukulang, sana hindi na lang mag-MR and it will have at least ma-expedite ang proseso sa problemang ito?
Actually, sir, natawa ako nung grupo namin, nung malaman namin magpa-file kasi first of all, the decision is a 14-0 unanimous decision.
Correct.
It's not a 13-0 because si Justice De Castro said she takes no part but signed the unconstitutionality decision.
Ganun po ang nangyari dyan. Yes, sir.
So, the court declared DAP as 100% unconstitutional. It was the petitioner's prayer. There are 9 petitioners' prayer that was partially granted.
Yes,
the petition for certiorari and prohibition. But the DAP as itself, as it is unconstitutional. Because number one, yun, tatlo nga po ang sinite. Unang-una, sabi ganon, hindi savings yan. Hindi ka pwede mag-declare na savings sa middle. Pangalawa, hindi ka pwede mag-cross border.
Correct.
Pangatlo po, hindi ka pwedeng maglalagay ng pera sa wala sa GAA or sa JA. So, sa pagpa-file po nilang ito, para bang parang defiance It's an act of defiance and stepping over the constitutional limits of your authority as president.
Correct.
Presidente ka lang You are supposed to implement the law. That's the limits of your power. If you want to interpret the law, then become a justice. So that's the reason we toppled down martial law specifically to limit people's power
And to limit the power of the president,
the
likewise.
president especially. And then kasi that's the only way you can safeguard the nation from tyranny is by limiting this power. Now, with the president parang going head on with the co-equal branch that has been empowered by the Constitution. Now, you only become president for 2,000 days. So ibig sabihin lumilipas lahat yung kapangyarihan yan, pero yung integridad ng limitasyon na yung kapangyarihan napakahalaga sa kalayaan ng ating bayan. Now, to go head on against the very institution that the law has created to protect and interpret the law, talagang magkakaroon tayo ng kanino patatakbo ang taong bayan para humingi ng katarungan.
Paulit-ulit, Councilor, na sinasabi ng ating Pangulo at ni Secretary Butsabad na good faith sila. They were in good faith. And yet, they kept that under wraps. Tinago nila from us for so long. Until, ironically, Senator Jingo Estrada delivered that privileged speech, which led to the disclosure of the DAP fund. So, ano ang tingin mo? Naging transparent ba sila and therefore they can claim good faith?
Definitely, they will not qualify for good faith because good faith only applies to PAP, projects, activities, and programs, not to senators and the president who prepares the budget, and then the senators senators and Congress appropriates. So you cannot claim good faith because you know that DAP was never in the GA in the first place. So you cannot claim good faith. Only those people who receives it in good faith can claim good faith. Example, na baha or bagyo.
Flood control project, for example.
Flood control project. So kailangan yung binabaha sila doon, kailangan ayusin yung malay,
Drainage systems.
malay ba naman ng kontraktor na nakaw pala yung pera. That's good faith.
Okay.
So yun yung sinasabi ng korte po na the operative fact doctrine that you cannot undo what's already been done. However, sabi ng desisyon, and this is through the separate opinion of Justice Leonin. Kasi nilinaw ni Justice Carpio kung bakit hindi pa pwede, tsaka anong hindi pa pwede, nilinaw ni Justice Bersamin. Ang ganda-ganda ng desisyon eh.
Correct.
Pag binasa niyo po, tapos si Justice Leonin, sabi niya ngayon, now that the court has declared it unconstitutional, the seven evidence packet that the Solicitor General provided the Supreme Court must now be transmitted to COA to do to fulfill its mandate.
Yes,
Hindi
sir.
pa niya ginagawa yun.
Meron ako isang quick na tanong lang
Yes,
po
okay.
in relation to, napaka-importante lang po. Noong nakaraang araw, as per the demand of the people and the public, na ilabas yung listahan, may inilabas po sila. Noong po nag-oral argument kayo, if I'm not mistaken, may ni-require din ang Supreme Court na mag-submit. Naikumpara niyo po ba yung listahan na isinubmite o yung pinrovide initially ng DBM sa ating pong Supreme Court at yung nilabas nila doon sa mga
Website nila.
sa website, at ano po ang kaibahan kung meron man?
Hindi ko pa ho natingnan
Yes, sir.
every item. Pero however, hindi na mahalaga yan eh. Kasi may utos na ang court na imbestigahan na ng COA. Meaning, ngayon na unconstitutional yan, issue mo na yung notices of disallowance which you are supposed to do para maibalik yung pera at maumpisahan na ang all-out, honest-to-goodness investigation of all DAP disbursements. Kasi nga po, iba-ibang claim, 116 na notices, tapos, one is in disbursements, 142, 149, sabi iba 170, iba 200. Kaya nga po, ang sabi ng korte, imbestigahan na natin.
Apo.
Umpisahan na natin itong 7 evidence packet na inilabas ninyo. Dahil pagka naumpisahan po yung investigation dyan, pag in-issue mo yung notice, magtuturoan na yan, gaya na nangyari kay Senator Estrada.
But then again, they are going to file a motion for reconsideration. So baka hindi pa siguro pwedeng ipilit
Hindi,
yan as of now.
hindi. That's beside the point. Yung pag-file nila ng MR, paano may MR ang 14-0, sir? Walang nagsabi na it is constitutional eh. Ang pinaka...
What I mean is, technically speaking, they are still entitled, di ba, to file an MR. Nothing in the Constitution or the law that will prevent them from doing so. Even if it is practically next to impossible, of course. We know that. So, since they can still file an MR, therefore, kung ano man yung laman ng desisyon, in the meantime, it can be held in abeyance dahil suspended dahil magpa-file nga ng MR.
That's for the court to decide.
Of
But
course,
right now, na wala pa akong nilalabas na MR, kung na-file ng MR, siguro nahihirapan sila saan lang kukunin yung MR. Dahil yung administrative code na sinasabi nila, number 1, it is already been declared constitutional. Number 2, pinag-usapan po sa korte. Nandun ako eh.
Nandun kayo mismo, as
nakikinig
one of the
kami.
petitioners. Yes.
Sabi niya, ang basis po nitong aming is the administrative code of 1987. Ang sabi ng mga justices, ang Supreme Court po, ang pinagbabasihan ay Constitution, hindi administrative code.
Which is more powerful than the administrative
Professor
code.
Jean, si Pinoy ba, before he delivered his speech last Monday, tingin mo ba, nagkonsulta at sinunod ang advice ng kanyang mga abogado before he made that speech, specifically using the administrative code as basis for his case, when we all know, even a first-year law student knows that a statute like the administrative code or any provision of it can never prevail against the Constitution. And yet, the President insisted in that speech na meron akong batayan at mukhang hindi yata tiningnan ng Korte Suprema. Why, hindi ba siya in-advisean properly or hindi niya pinakinggan?
Ang tingin ko, they just wanted to be consistent. Kasi kung yun ang ina-argue nila nung hearings
Para
pa sa
medyo
Supreme Court.
hindi naman
oo.
hindi naman nakakahiya.
Pero
diba?
hindi ba ang administrative code was during the
And before the
before the 1987.
Revolutionary.
So in effect, it has been superseded by the
Yeah.
Ayun na nga yung argument po nila.
In fact,
Nila
even if the Constitution came before the enactment of the administrative code, the Constitution would still prevail. Di ba? Before or after doesn't matter because it is the highest law.
Plus that law that was lifted to the 1987
PD.
revolutionary was declared unconstitutional in 1973. Oh,
Presidential
77.
Decree 1177.
Was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in 1973. So it doesn't really work. Sir, maraming chismis kasi. Yung mga abogado, some of the lawyers of the president, naawa nga ako dahil kay Presidente dahil he's being made to to take the bullet for them. Baligtad are egging him to fight the Supreme Court,
Okay.
being equal bodies
Body.
daw. Mali.
Yes, sir.
That is beyond your constitutional power. Because you're just an executive officer. You're not an interpreter of the law.
Bro George,
Pero meron pa ako isang quick question muna, Tito Job, bago yung ating comments. Kay ma'am po, kay professor, bago uli yung kay konsehal. But ito po, ma'am, kung nag-resign ba irrevocably si Secretary Butch at tinanggap ng Pangulo, medyo bababa ang init ng sambayan at magbabago lahat-lahat ng mga bagay-bagay.
Ang tingin ko. Kasi yun yung, kung talagang loyal ka sa isang tao, dapat, pag nakikita mong medyo liability ka na, di ba? Dapat, protektahan mo yung tao.
Ayun.
matuwid na daan. Which was of course, practically the mantra of the Aquino administration. Sa tingin mo ba, bumibenta pa ba ang matuwid na daan right now?
Siyempre sa atin
Councilor?
hindi na sir. Dahil napatunayan na natin sa korte, palabasan ng ebidensya. Pangalawa sir, kita mo to. Ang bawi nila sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema, they're ganging up now on the Supreme Court by through the COA. Itong pinalalaki niya yung issue ng Judicial Development Fund na wala namang controversy. Wala namang, hindi naman gaya ng PDAF yan na may controversy. Pero bigla sa akin, meron kayong JDF tapos ang yan ang...
Mali ang timing.
Talagang alam mo na ito ang bawi. Instead of doing what the court said to investigate and do your thing, ginawa niya, imbestigahan niya ngayon ang korte.
So maliwanag sir ngayon na ang talagang pinupush nyo ngayon as one of the petitioners na talaga namang nag-push talaga para ma-declare na unconstitutional itong DAP, ay mag-proceed na tayo sa next level in which is that COA should now perform its constitutional mandate as against the DAP.
Opo, COA, Ombudsman, Department of Justice, papapunta sa Antigan kasi ngayon unconstitutional, imbestigahan na natin yung pinaggastusan para matukoy natin sino, saan.
And what can you say about the proposed, the supposedly hearing na gagawin sa ating Senado patungkol dito sa DAP?
He who comes to court must come to court with clean hands. So the perpetrators cannot be prosecutors as well. Paano ka mag-hearing 99 million kinuha mo, 100 million kinuha mo, 50 million ang kinuha mo? Hindi obra. Ito nga po ang problema natin
Opo.
Saan tayo pupunta ngayon? Yung mag-iimbestiga, yun ang dapat imbestigahan. So ang kailangan talagang people has to take the blame and resign. Now, I don't want the president to resign. I want him to finish his term and I want him to fix this mess because he has an opportunity to fix his mess. Plus, what do we get when presidents resign, even President Constitutional? Unless the system change, nothing change. But what we want to say is now, paano imbestigahan ng COA? 144 ang kanya. Paano tanggapin imbestigahan ng Kongreso? 6.5 billion almost kanila. So baba muna kayo dyan, maglagay kayo ng mga tao na objective at hindi humawak at then isettle natin.
Ayun.
Meron tayong mga comments from George, no? Bilisan natin dahil we are running short of time. From Hector of Quezon City, are we trying to say that our president is incompetent to all of his decisions? Or to, in relation to this decision? For as long as his conscience is clean, so be it. Then you're entitled to your own opinion, of course.
From JJ Aguilar, should the SE sustain his first decision but the president will not accept it, ano po ang mangyayari?
Constitutional.
Kunwari na sir, ikaw po, isa kayo sa mga petitioners and surely whether you'll be required by the Supreme Court to file your comment to the MR or not and they will now decide. in the event that the Supreme Court will deny the motion for reconsideration, at siguro hindi man ako naniniwala na mangyayari yung sinasabi niya, but in that event, ano ang na hindi susundin yung magiging decision? What will happen now?
Well, syempre, ang mga tao will continue to search for justice. And then, ako pananalangin ko ang ating Pangulo at ang ating bayan. Pero wala kang magagawa. Ano gagawin mo? Hindi naman ikaw ang Pangulo. So, dahil pananalangin mo, pero hindi natin alam kung anong gagawin ng iba.
Ito bang itong nangyari ito ngayon, na na-declare unconstitutional DAP, may epekto ba ito doon sa maipagmamalaki ng ating Pangulo, yung naipo-prosecute natin ngayon, yung mga possible culprits ng PDAP, as against doon sasabihin niya na ngayon, na meron ngayon desisyon tungkol sa DAP? Magkakaroon ba ng, hindi na niya maipagmamalaki ng sapat yung tungkol sa prosecution ng PDAP?
Ang problema kasi mukhang sa masa, hindi nila na di-differentiate yung DAP at saka yung PDAF. You know what I mean? So para sa kanila, isa lang to.
It's one and the same.
Hindi naman nila, sa kanila parang ito, kinuha dito tapos ibinigay dito sa kabilang branch ng government, yung ganon. So, yan ang public relations problem para sa presidente at mga tao niya.
Ayun.
Sir,
Yes,
ako ng
please.
linaw.
Yes.
Ako po yung main petitioner ng PDAF tsaka lead petitioner sa DAP.
Ng DAP, opo.
Pork barrel system. When the court in 2013 declared the pork barrel system as unconstitutional, ang sabi niya, imbestigahan lahat from 1991.
Okay.
Hindi niya sinabi yung tatlo. Ibig sabihin lahat from CDF hanggang sa present board, both legislative and congressional. So yung pagdidiin nila sa tatlo, mali yun. Dahil hindi yun sinabi ng korte.
Ayun. Baka daw kasi madaming hindi nakakaunawa ng desisyon ng Supreme Court kasi masyadong legalistic at mukhang mahirap unawain. Ano po masasabi niyo tungkol?
Well, first of all, DAP and PDAF is not a political issue, it is a legal issue. So regardless sa maunawaan ng marami, darating pa na may educate natin yan, settle ang legal issue.
Ayun. Ma'am, ito bilang panghuli niyo pong pananalita po sa bagay na ito. Yung popularity ng ating Pangulo ay patuloy na bumabagsak. Kaya pa bang mabawi ng ating Pangulo yung sa natitira niyang almost 2 years na mas makapagsilbi pa na maayos at maikorek yung mga bagay-bagay na sa palagay ng tao ay mali?
Siguro, mababawi niya kung gagawa siya ng very dramatic moves. Kaya lang, less than 2 years na lang yung panahon niya eh. And itong nangyaring pag-plummet ng ng approval ratings, hindi lang naman ito siguro dahil dun sa mga in very recent months na mga pangyayari. Ano na rin, nag-ipon-ipon na rin at natapos na yung wait and see attitude. Kasi more than half his term na na-use up niya na. So, ang tao nagmamasid na, ano ba, yung pangako mo ba na ibigay na. So, kasama yan sa trajectory ng presidency niya.
Sir, that may be illegal or unconstitutional, but it is moral. What can you say about that?
Very brief lang,
Yes,
because
sir.
we are running short of time,
I don't
Councilor.
think there's anything moral with something illegal. The end just doesn't justify the means. And the court has proven, and we all know, hindi ko pwedeng kunin ng pera mo at iuwi ko sa bahay ko.
Ay, yun. Napakaganda po ng ating talakayan, Tito Joe. At maraming pong salamat muli kay Professor Encinas-Franco and of course, si Sir Greco Belgica.
Dito sa Political Watch, sagot namin ang mga impormasyon. Nasa inyo ang desisyon at pagbuo ng opinyon. Maraming salamat sa patuloy ninyong pagtangkilik sa ating programa.
Hanggang sa susunod na Webes po, samahan niyo muli kami sa paglilinaw ng mga usaping may kinalaman sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. Ating pong tatandaan na sa isang malusog na bayan,
Sumusunod sa batas ang mamamayan. Salamat sa Diyos.